Good afternoon, everybody. It's Terry Walsh. It's October 28th, Wednesday. I'm glad to see you today. I just want to give you a brief update on some things that are going on. The first thing I'd like to tell you about is our COVID-19 status and our update for the campus at this point. As you know, we've gone several months without any residents with COVID-19 at all, but a couple of weeks ago we had a resident in assisted living at Fountain View who did test positive for COVID-19 and has gone through now their entire regimen for recovery from COVID-19, and today they graduate from their 14-day program in quarantine, and they'll be back in the normal population in Fountain View. So as of today then, when that resident graduates from their treatment program and their recovery program, then we won't have any other residents on the campus with COVID-19, and that includes independent living. That includes assisted living at Fountain View, and it includes our Village Care Center, our skilled nursing facility. Again, we won't have any residents who've tested positive with COVID-19. That's a great news story. We've been blessed by our good Lord to have that situation. On the employee side, we haven't had as much fortunate news. We do have many employees who are out on quarantine at home for various reasons. There are three main reasons that someone would be quarantined at home for COVID-19, and one of those is whether or not they actually have tested positive for COVID-19. And if that's the case, then they quarantine at home for 14 days until they have no symptoms before they can come back to work. The second reason would be that they are pending a test. So they have symptoms of COVID-19 and they've gone to get a test, but the test results aren't back yet. So they quarantine at home until they get the results of those tests. If they're negative, if the test results are negative, then they come back to work. If they're positive, then they continue on in their quarantine at home. And then the third category are employees who have been exposed to a known positive COVID-19 person. So for example, a family member like mine, when my son had COVID-19, since I was exposed to him, I had to quarantine at home just like everybody else. So there are three categories of employees who are currently quarantining at home right now for a grand total, and this is an alarming number to me, for a grand total of 20 employees from this campus right now who are at home for one of those three reasons. They either already have been confirmed with COVID-19, or they are waiting for a test result, and hopefully negative test result, or they've been exposed to somebody else who has been confirmed with COVID-19. So we're a little bit shorthanded in some areas right now. Our staff is making do with that. They're working hard. The housekeeping staff is doubling up as much as they can. Some of the serving staff and food and beverage is working harder than they normally do because they're trying to cover for other people, and some other areas within the facility as well. So it's a little bit tight right now on some of our staffing because of our employee population that has had something to do with COVID and are quarantining at home. They're all doing fine. Nobody is deathly sick or ill, but there are those who have it are recovering well. And those who are exposed are staying away from it. They still haven't tested negative, which is a great thing to know. And then we're still waiting for the pending tests to see how they come out. Otherwise, we're doing well. The resident population, you are continuing to do very well at protecting yourselves against COVID-19. I know that you're continuing to practice your protocols of wearing the mask, maintaining social distancing. We always have a challenge with doing that. I know all around the campus we have clusters of residents gathering together within close proximity to each other, and we can't do that. We've got to be more mindful of that. And I know some of you don't care, and what's what we need to fix. Some of you have trouble staying away physically and at 6 feet away from other people, and we've got to do better at doing that, and I ask you to do that. But otherwise, we're doing well. Again, our record speaks for itself. We don't have any residents in independent living at all that have had COVID-19. The care center has been free of COVID-19 among the residents for quite some time now. And then Fountain View, the single resident that they've ever had with COVID-19, is about to recover today with their recovery plan, and so they'll be back to 0 residents as well. That's a great, wonderful thing that our good Lord has given us. But I continue to thank you, and I'm impressed with all of the efforts that our resident population has put into this. But I'm also impressed with our employee population and their efforts, even though they're out in the world and intermingling with other people, where COVID is on a surge right now all around the county and the state and the country. Even though our employees are in a situation where they almost can't help but get it, not knowing that they've been around it before they know that they had it, they're doing well at notifying us ahead of time before they come to work, or our team is doing a great job of catching them when they do arrive at work and sending them home. So the amount of exposure from employees to residents obviously has been minimal because we don't have residents that have COVID-19. So I do want to thank our employees as well for, even though they get sick, they try to keep it away from you, and that's our primary mission, is to keep you safe. Because you're doing well, we are opening back up to small group activities again, beginning on Saturday, with one exception. So Saturday, our small group activities will be reinstated. There will be exercise classes and so on. A lot of you asked me about whether the pool was going to be open again starting on Saturday, and the answer to that question is yes, the pool will be open. You've got to sign up for your time in the crossing lobby, as you normally do. But the one exception is we are going to open up small group dinners starting Thursday night and Friday night for those of you that are in the lobster dinner program and have ordered lobsters. Jim had already ordered those. They're waiting for you. Those lobsters, the poor lobsters, have given their lives in service to you and to our village. And so that's the only exception we're making until Saturday as far as small group gatherings, is being able to serve those lobsters to those of you that have reserved them. If you did reserve them, you should be getting a call from Food and Beverage to confirm. And if you don't remember if you did, then call Food and Beverage, Mike Asaro and Jim Hunzy's office, and see if you're on that list, just to make sure. But that's the one exception we're making until Saturday. I know it sounds crazy, but I think we're in a condition now where we're able to safely do that particular event, and then open up the rest of the activities starting on Saturday. You know that next week is Election Day on Tuesday, November 3rd. You know that there's going to be a huge number of people voting. There are already a huge number of people that have been voting, both in-person absentee voting or through the mail on absentee ballots. I just ask that you plan ahead. If you are going to vote in person, as I will be on Tuesday, I'm expecting very, very long lines and a long wait. So I hope that you are anticipating doing that too. Don't let that steer you away from voting. Voting is very important and very critical, and it's worth the wait. So don't let the long lines scare you away. Just be ready for them. Take a chair to sit on while you're waiting in line or something. But don't let it steer you and scare you away from voting. You need to go vote. I encourage you to go vote. I just want you to be prepared for a long line and a long wait while you're doing that. We will be providing some limited transportation for those of you that have no other means to get to the polling place. Those of you that can take yourselves, or maybe a friend, you're invited to do that, or those of you that are going to ask a family member to do that, please do so. One thing I do ask is that when you actually go to vote, as I will be doing, is that you follow your protocols. Please wear your mask. Try to stay away from people who aren't wearing a mask, and I think it's going to be enforced at all the polling places. But you know there's going to be somebody in defiance of that rule in not wearing their mask. So be mindful of that. Protect yourself as much as you possibly can. Make sure you have a little bit of hand sanitizer with you, just to clean up after you touch anything else, you know, when you do it in the polling booth and all that. Have a little bit of hand sanitizer. Make sure you do everything you can to maintain your social distancing while you're waiting in line. Keep your mask on and do the best you can to try to keep COVID away from you. But I still think it's very important that we all take the opportunity to vote when we can. So I encourage you to make plans to do that for next Tuesday, if you wish. Now, there are opportunities to vote early absentee voting. There's a government center on Lee May Ferry Road that you can go to, but I suspect the lines are just as long there now as they will be at the polling place on Tuesday morning. But I encourage you to do that. One of the other things I want to talk about is, I know several of you, and I get these too, you get prank phone calls or you get scam phone calls from people who are trying to take your money. And I encourage you to let your answering machines, if you have an answering machine, let it answer the phone before you answer the phone, unless you know who it is and you have caller ID. But I know a lot of our residents, and I get them as well, I get them on my cell phone. I get calls from people who are trying to scam me out of money, to alert me to something that's a problem that's really not a problem, and those sorts of things. Don't be taken in by that. So I ask you to be vigilant, be calm, let your answering machine, if you have one, get it. If it's important, they'll leave a message. If it's a scammer, they won't leave a message, obviously. And one of the other things to do is, if you actually do answer the phone and it's somebody who's trying to convince you that there's a crisis and they need your money to fix it, either just directly hang up, which is my best advice. There's a red button on your phone that hangs up the phone, and that's the easiest thing to do. If it's somebody that loves you, they'll call back. If it's somebody that's scamming you, they won't call back. But that button on your phone is completely within your power. And you have the ability to hang up on anybody that calls you if you don't want to hear their message, and don't let them frighten you. If you've been going along now for a long time without any critical issues in your life, and all of a sudden you get a phone call from somebody that tries to create a critical issue in your life that requires you to pay money, hang up the phone, because chances are that's not a really problem for you, and you just need to hang it up. One of the other things you can do is ask them to give you their phone number, tell them you're busy, and you'll call them back and I have your phone number. And if they give you the phone number, great. If they give you the phone number, bring it to my office, you and I will call them together. But otherwise, I would bet you that they won't give you their phone number. They'll try to keep you on the phone. They won't give you their phone number because they know it's a sham, and they'll probably hang up at that point. I would just ask that you be vigilant. If you have any problems, you actually get a call from somebody and you talk to them and you get their phone number and you're not sure who it was, come to my office. Sue and I or somebody will just sit with you and we'll call them back. We'll see what's going on and we'll help you out with that. Sometimes those phone calls are fun when you can tease them back and try to give them a little bit of a dose of their own medicine. So be mindful of that. This is the season where everybody's trying to get your money because it's the end of the year and you're gift giving or you're working on your taxes and all those sorts of things, and so are they. So they're trying to find out a way to try to tap into your resources, and don't let them do it. If you're in doubt, let us know and we will see what we can do to help you. We can't stop the phone calls coming to you, but we can help you stop answering them. And so we're willing to help do that. Another plea again for our Christmas gift that the residents collect on your own for our employees. I know last week I talked about this at length, but I just want to give you a friendly reminder that now is the time where those collections are happening. And so I would ask that you continue to consider giving to the employee Christmas gift, which is the one time of year you can give our employees something, a sign of appreciation, a token of appreciation for all the work they do to try to keep you safe from COVID-19, which is our primary mission right now, and then otherwise to take care of you in the way that we really are trying to do and give you first-class service and amenities here at Friendship Village while we're trying to balance keeping you safe from COVID-19. It's not an easy balance, but our staff works very hard to try to do the very best they can. Financially, I don't have another report for you. We will in a couple of weeks, but it's the end of the month now, and nothing's changed officially on the books since the last report that I gave you. We're behind budget. I don't know how we did, or we're finishing up the month of October. I'll know that by the 10th of November, but I don't know what it is now. If you are on the resident council, the meeting has been changed from next Tuesday, which is election day. So we know next Tuesday's election day. That's when the resident council meeting was going to be, as it normally is. But because of election day and people coming in and out and standing in long lines to vote, I talked with Bob Swearingen, and we are moving the resident council meeting to the 10th of November. And word will be put out on that, but it's going to be the 10th of November at 10 o'clock in the morning in the Magnolia, not in the Magnolia, but in the Cambridge dining room where we've met before. So just plan on that if you're in the resident council, that the meeting for next Tuesday has been moved to November 10th so that we can avoid Election Day complications. The Care Center, as you know, is the last building that we're going to be opening for our construction and expansion project. It is gorgeous inside. Almost all of the furniture is there. The artwork is being installed and hung on the walls. And now we're going to begin moving in all of the new beds and to make it habitable for residents to move in there. The place is looking wonderful. I know you haven't had a tour yet, but we are getting ready to set those up in the middle of November, and you will have an open house availability where you'll be able to go through the new care center and see what it looks like. And I know that the families of residents in the care center are soon to have an opportunity to walk through and pick the room that they want for their loved one. So it's becoming a real thing now, and it's going to be very exciting. We hope to be able to move in there in December, as long as the state and county inspectors are able to keep on our schedule. And as I mentioned last week, they're backlogged because of COVID-19. So we're not sure they're going to be able to continue on the schedule that we intended for December opening. We're hopeful that that will be the case. We're planning for that just in case, because we're anxious to get everybody in there. But the building is looking fantastic. Last week, you may have seen, I think it was last Thursday, a drone flying over early in the morning. You may have heard it if you were awake, taking a video of our new campus with all of the landscaping in and all that. Hopefully when that gets all completed and edited and fine-tuned, we will be able to share that with you to show what our campus looks like from the air. I'm sure it's very impressive. I can't wait to see it myself. We see it at the ground level and it's gorgeous. It'll be fun to watch it from the sky to see what our campus looks like now after the transformation from the construction project. I don't have anything else to share with you. I look forward to seeing you again over the holidays. You know that we have our Christmas galas are still on the books starting December 9th. And we're going to plan on that, so I hope that you're planning on that. Good luck with the election on next Tuesday. I know I'm going to be standing in line at the DePere Courthouse for quite some time waiting to vote, but I insist on voting because I think it's very important that we do that. So I'm going to be there until that's done. And I hope that you're making plans to do the same thing at the Sunset Hills Community Center or wherever you're going to be voting here in Sunset Hills. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again later, and goodbye for now. Bye.